Hello, welcome to meditation. I'm Alexandra Purdy, and this meditation is inspired by trees. I'm going to start by reading a piece from a book called Trees by Hermann Hesse. Trees for me have always been the most compelling creatures. I worship and adore them when they live in families and tribes, in forests and groves, and even more when they stand alone. They are like solitary people, not hermits who have stolen away from society out of some weakness, but great lonely people like Beethoven or Nietzsche. The world rustles in their uppermost branches. Their roots rest in the infinite, but they do not lose themselves in either. They work with all the strength of their lives toward just one thing, fulfilling their own law that lives within them, shaping their own form, becoming their own selves. Nothing is more sacred, nothing more exemplary than a strong and beautiful tree. Skipping ahead a little, it says, a tree says, hidden in me is a seed, a spark, a thought. I am life from eternal life. The attempt the eternal mother made with me, the risk she took is unique. My shape is unique, the grain of my skin, the tiniest play of leaves on my crown, and the tiniest scar on my back. My task is to give shape to the eternal, and to show that shape in its unique, distinctive particularity. I could keep reading. This is so good. But it's inspiring to think about trees as being the most compelling creatures and what we can learn about being unique and rooted, and our roots resting in the infinite. So let's get ready to meditate. Come into a comfortable position. You can sit or lie down. I'm sitting on a meditation cushion, but you could sit with a pillow beneath you. That felt good. It helps to raise your hips a little bit above your knees so you don't strain your knees. But you could also lie down if that feels comfortable to you, and feel free to, sometimes we need meditation to help us go to sleep. Feel free to use this meditation in that way if you're in need of rest. So let's come back to the present moment. Notice where you are in time and space. Feel your body where it rests on the earth. Notice the feeling right where your body comes in contact with whatever you're sitting or lying down on. You might notice pressure or tingling or the weight of gravity. Just go right to that point where the two come together and notice the sensations you're feeling there. Let's imagine we have a tiny string attached to the top of our head, drawing us ever so slightly taller and straighter. Maybe we can experiment with putting a half smile on our faces. And notice if that affects the way you're feeling physically at all. Now let's take a moment to imagine ourselves being rooted. Rooting into the infinite, as Hesse said. Imagine you have roots growing from beneath you, from your tailbone, your feet. Imagine the roots growing deeper and deeper into the earth. Imagine them rooting and twisting and Finding ways around rocks or anything hard in the earth, and just continuing to grow deeper and deeper toward the center of the earth. We're rooting into the infinite, rooting into Mother Earth. And notice any physical sensations you have as a result of imagining these roots growing beneath you. Notice if you feel like you can sit a little bit taller. Notice if you feel a little bit more solid just from having visualized growing roots. Now let's imagine that we have branches that are growing up toward the sky, finding their way toward the sun, growing taller and higher and sprouting leaves. Notice any physical sensation you have now. Now we've imagined having roots and branches growing in two different directions at once. And notice how that feels in your body. Maybe you have this subtle feeling of stretching, of growing both up and down at once. Now let's imagine that we're sitting beneath a great tree, a tall, sturdy tree that's been around for ages, much longer than we've been alive. Notice the feeling of resting beneath this great tree. Maybe sitting on a bed of leaves or moss or grass. Now notice your breath as you breathe in and out. Take a moment to notice that the carbon dioxide that you're breathing out is the same carbon dioxide that a tree needs to breathe in. And the tree is breathing out oxygen that you need to breathe in. Trees and humans co-evolved in this way to breathe out what the other needs to breathe in. And this realization stuns me every time. How cool is that? The earth around us is breathing out what we need to breathe in. And we are breathing out what trees and plants need to breathe in. We're symbiotic, growing and thriving together. Take a deep breath in, realizing the gift that the earth is giving you. The oxygen that you need to thrive has arrived just in time. There's a perfect rhythm between you and the earth that you didn't have to orchestrate. It was orchestrated beyond us, above us, without us in a way. We just get to show up and thrive. So focus on your breath. Notice where in your body you're feeling your breath most acutely right now. Maybe in your nostrils, maybe in your lungs, maybe in your belly. maybe in your back. Maybe you feel your body breathing as one whole entity. There's no right answer. We're just noticing where we feel the breath most acutely in our bodies right now. It's an invitation back into the body, paying attention to the body rather than the mind. The mind can be in a million places at once, including the past and future, but the body can only ever be right here and now in the present moment. So let's use the body as an invitation back into the present moment. Watch your breath for a few moments. Watch it coming in and out of your body as though you're sitting on a beach watching the waves roll in and out on the ocean. Watch the rhythm and the pattern of your breaths, like you're watching the rhythm and pattern of waves. Notice how one breath might differ from the last, just as we notice how one wave might be different than the others. Just noticing the subtle details. Notice if one breath is longer or deeper than the others, or shorter and shallower than the others. There's no judgment, we're just noticing, just getting curious. And notice how it feels to notice the rhythms of nature in your own body. Maybe there's something soothing about that, noticing that we're part of nature. We're not apart from it. We're part of this beautiful dance happening on the planet, and we're not alone. A lot of fear and suffering comes from the concern that we are alone, the feeling that we're isolated in our own feelings or experiences, that we have this fear that we're maybe the only one some of these challenging pieces of life are happening to. But we're not, we're part of a dance, and challenging things are part of life. And this is one of the things that ancient trees know. They've been here much longer than us, and they know that the weather changes and storms come. With deep enough roots, we're able to weather them. Notice if you feel even a subtle relief in your body in realizing how much you are a part of life, a part of the planet, a part of nature. The rhythms of nature work through you all day, every day. Your lungs breathe in and out. The tiny vessels in our lungs look very similar to the roots of a tree. Our tiny blood vessels and throughout our body look similar to the roots of a tree. This isn't an accident. We're all part of nature. Breathing in and out together. How does it feel to be so deeply a part of nature? A part of it, not apart from it. You're not an isolated person alone with your experience. You are deeply a part of the earth, of nature, of life. You are here on purpose, just like a tree is here on purpose. Just here to be itself in all its uniqueness. Your life here is valuable, just as a tree's life is valuable. Just by virtue of being here. How does that feel in your body? Realizing the deep value of your being. Without having to do anything, just your being is valuable. And trees go through seasons too, just as we do. They grow leaves, and then when the season changes, they lose them. But they're still alive, still growing, even though it might look on the outside like they're not. It might look on the outside like they're dying. Their leaves have gone. The tree is still there, still growing, still thriving. It will grow leaves again. So we can't judge a tree by its outside, just as we cannot judge ourselves by our outside. The growth is happening within, even when that's not evident on the outside. Even in winter, when deciduous trees lose their leaves and look as though they're dying, the growth is happening within. Just as growth is happening inside of you right now, no matter what it looks like on the outside. Breathe in and out. Let's take a few deep breaths, breathing oxygen deep into our lungs. And then exhaling deeply. See if you can release all the air from your lungs, all the carbon dioxide your body doesn't need. See if you can keep exhaling a little longer than might even feel comfortable to make sure you release every bit of air that's in your lungs. And then notice the pull to breathe in, notice how good breathing in feels after exhaling deeply. Let's breathe in through our nose, out through our mouth, extending the out breath to be a little bit longer than the in breath. Scientists have found that breathing in this way, in through the nose and out through the mouth, extending the out breath to be a little bit longer than the in breath, has a soothing effect on our nervous system. Notice if you feel any hint of that in your own body right now, any subtle sign of relaxation, just from having breathed in this way. There's a statistic that we breathe 20 to 25,000 times a day. And we don't have to think about this. This happens without our volition. Our bodies are just doing this, breathing in and out all day, every day, keeping you alive, allowing you to do all the things you do in a day without having to think about this integral piece of living. We go on breathing, which keeps us alive 20 to 25,000 times a day, and we don't have to think about it. It's a gift that life gives us, this breath. Notice the feeling of having a gift like this that happens without your volition all day, every day. Maybe let's throw up a flare of thanks to the universe, to life, to God, to whomever you feel grateful toward. Throw up a flare of gratitude for this gift of breath. Notice this great gift that often goes without our notice at all. And let's notice all the gifts that we've received from trees during this meditation. The gift of inspiration, the gift of visualization, imagining, having physical roots growing into the ground and branches growing up toward the sky. The gift of breath and oxygen that trees give us, just as we give trees the gift of the carbon dioxide that we breathe out. The gift trees give us just by living through the seasons and showing us how that's done. So many gifts trees give us, which I think is part of why Hess wrote, "Trees for me have always been the most compelling creatures. I worship and adore them. They live in families and tribes, in forests and groves, and even more when they stand alone. Not hermits who've stolen away from society out of some weakness, but great lonely people like Beethoven or Nietzsche. The world rustles in their uppermost branches. Their roots rest in the infinite, but they do not lose themselves in either. They work with all the strength of their lives toward just one thing: fulfilling their own law that lives within them, shaping their own form, becoming their own selves. Nothing is more sacred, nothing more exemplary than a strong and beautiful tree. And in this meditation, we worked to become strong and beautiful like a tree, unique with our roots in the infinite and our branches reaching toward the sky. This continues. Trees are holy. If you know how to talk to them, how to listen to them, you will learn the truth. They preach not dark doctrines and rules. They preach with no concern for details, the primal law of life. A tree says, "Hidden in me is a seed, a spark, a thought. I am life from eternal life. The attempt the eternal mother made with me, the risk she took is unique. My shape is unique. The grain of my skin, the tiniest play of leaves on my crown, and the tiniest scar on my back. My task is to give shape to the eternal and know that shape in its unique, distinctive particularity." I think this is our task too, to give shape to the eternal and to show that shape in our unique, distinctive particularity. Thanks so much for joining me. Thank you for your presence and your practice. May we all notice the strength of resting our roots in the infinite and growing toward the sky. I look forward to being back here again with you soon.